Redline oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, race fans, WFO Radio is back. That is right. Coming in off a rare off weekend for the Mission Foods series. You had the Norwalk 9 Under Fire. Boise was in action. They were doing it up at US 131. There was drag racing happening all across the nation. In fact, this is one of the big weekends when the big show takes a weekend off. Everybody gets in on it. This coming weekend, we're going to get going again, not in the Mission Food Series, but Brainerd, Minnesota, going to have a double divisional up there. I'm going to that. I'm going to be calling the action in Brainerd. Seattle's going to be streamed on NHRA.tv, all kinds of good stuff. On this show, we're going to have some news. We're going to start warming into the idea of the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals with a guy who has done pretty well at that race. He is a 10-time winner at the U.S. Nationals. He'll be making his return to consistent Mission Foods Series drag racing with Rick Ware Racing. Tony Schumacher is seconds away. We're going to talk with Tony. He's been posting a lot of photographs of like working out, hitting the trees, getting amped up, geared up. He'll be making his return at the Cornwell Tools U.S. National. I am super excited about this because, you know, he's one of our greatest drivers in the history of NHRA drag racing, and he's going to be throwing himself right into the most critical part of the season. Teammate to Clay Milliken. What does he think about all of this? His crew chief, his new sponsor, his new owner, Abe. We're going to get into all of it. So if you're a fan of Tony Schumacher, if you're a fan of NHRA drag racing, you're out there on YouTube or watching on X, we ask you to repost the show and let's get it out there and find out what this guy's got to say. All right, let's check in with him. Bring him on right now. The 8-time world champion, Tony Schumacher. What's up, Tony? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Just patiently waiting.
Have you ever been more physically fit in your life? All you're doing is posting gym shots, like working out, like getting ready. You seem to be highly prepared.
I mean, I always do that. I've always been working. I just don't post it. You know, I've been the same weight, the same structure for a long time. It's just, you know, I haven't changed my seat mold in 15 years, I don't think. It's the same one. We move it from car to car. So, you know, I think it's important. And I'll tell you what, there's some drivers out there that aren't in great shape that do a hell of a job too. So I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a mental thing, how you go into the race, how you feel about yourself, if you're comfortable, if you're mentally prepared, physically ready. And, you know, it's, to me, it helps no matter what. I think being in good condition is important.
All right. So let's, I was just looking back, you know, you made your debut at Indy in 1996. Like, and that's just a crazy number. It's like, we are so lucky to be alive and to get old. Right. But what an amazing career you have had with 10 wins to pick Indy as your return race. There's something to that, obviously.
Well, no doubt about it. Obviously I would have picked the first race we could have gotten to, but there's more to it than just me wanting to be out there. Had to pick the right crew chief, had to pick, you know, 2 trailers, had to buy them. These things, they just take time. And we were all anxious. You know, we want to get out there. I'd prefer to have, you know, more laps going into Indy. But I can tell you this, you know, I didn't have more laps the first time I ran there. I didn't have more laps when me and my dad came out with Exide at the race in '98. And we started there again. So it's been one of those places where you start because it's a great race. It's a big race. It's a tough race. There's a lot of cars that try to qualify at that race, but we've had such a great amount of success and some devastating losses there too. So, kind of goes both ways, but we have been fortunate to be the winningest team in Top Fuel to run that racetrack. And, Manzo, he's one bad dude. So to put yourself in a name, trying to seek a number like his at 11, that's just it's kind of some kind of special.
Yeah, well, exactly. And we don't want to skip the Lucas Oil Nationals in Brainerd, but you won't be in that. The reason I wanted to have you on the show is to kind of get ahead of the story. And it looks like the fans out there are excited. Matt says, welcome back, Sarge. And Keith, can't wait for Tony's return. There's a bit of a kind of a hole in the field a little bit. You've had so many fans for so many years. And Monica, can't wait to see you racing again, Tony. This guy, Clay Milliken, the big go. Let's go. Clay, thank you very much for checking out the show.
Pedal, big boy.
He was at the night under fire. All right, let's stop right there. Clay Milliken, beloved character. You've raced with and against him for most of your career, but now you're a teammate to Clay. So it's a different relationship, a closer relationship. What has it been like being on the inside with Clay Milliken?
He's just he's a genuine racer. He's loved by so many people. And he's I've had a lot of teammates, what you would call teammates, I guess. I guess if my dad owned 8 cars, there were 7 teammates of mine. And, that's not always true. I mean, and they were all great people. Don't get me wrong. I think me and Clay have had more conversations about technique and different things than I ever had with all the rest of the drivers. Everyone, when you get to this level, you don't really share that much stuff. I think, it's not my job to improve somebody. It's not their job to help me through a tough situation. It really doesn't happen that often. But me and Clay, we just sit down and we talk like a couple of old dudes racing cars and what it's like and how to make it a little better. And I think we're going to turn out to be the best teammates, or he'll turn out to be the best teammate I ever had. And I look forward to it. And, and just he's a pleasure to be around. So, for the fans out there, and I love it because a lot of great comments, but you get those bad ones, man. Just retire. How long are you going to do this? Stuff like that. And Clay gets a few too, but we're just going to call it good guy, bad guy. I'll be the bad guy for a while. He can be the good guy. I don't mind that one bit. So, what you don't want is nobody commenting. They can comment good. They can comment bad. I really don't care. It's, it's part of life. I figure this, there's 16 cars on race day. That means I get 1% of that. We're not 1%, 1/15 of that, right? 15 people are going to hate me. One person's going to love me. If I can make that number grow, that's good. If I can get to half the people out there liking me and half of them booing me, did a great job. But I think, my luck has been with the Army for so long that you have so many veterans, so many military in all the branches that are behind that car, and always have been. And, you get a few people that don't like you, but the majority, it's great. Clay just has everyone that loves him. Every now and then he'll get picked on by somebody and it bothers him a little bit. But, for me, thick skin, been dealing a long time, had so many good winning streaks like we had in some of the years. It's you're going to grow a hater or two.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because I think that's the issue of the day. How to deal with the fact that every single citizen has a broadcast mechanism to share their opinion. And, and they're not all good. You mentioned Clay, right? Like, how could there possibly be someone that doesn't like Clay? Oh, well, they're out there, man. There's a bunch of them. How much oxygen do we give those people? Why do we talk about it? Myself included. Like, there'll be 50 comments that tell me I did a good job on a call, and there'll be one that says it stunk. And that's the stupid one that I think about. Like, what's wrong with that guy? What did I do to make him mad? It's just, I guess, human nature. I like the fact that you're willing to embrace it. Kind of hard to be the bad guy when you got Rob Flynn as your crew chief, though. Yeah. He's nothing but good guy. We'll talk a little bit about Rob.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We've mounted our battles against each other for a long, long time. So when he became available, and I think that's so important to understand why you don't just jump into something. There's a handful of people that can win as drivers, as crew chiefs, that can win championships, and you got to wait for the right guy, the right time, and it doesn't always happen just because you want it to happen. These are moments you got to be patient, And, we're not going to go out there and just try to fill the field. We're going out there trying to win a championship. And we can't do it this year. We can help Clay the best we can. But, in reality, we're just going to go out there and, like I've always said, be a machine from day one, do the same thing every time. It helps Rob Flynn. He'll be able to tune a car to the best of his knowledge. If I can do my best job, I'll be able to drive my car the best I can if he does his job. And so when you're hand picking these guys, you start with the crew chief. Well, you start with the team owner. Pick the right team, someone that's going to allow you to do what you want to do. Then you got to go out and find the money, and it's always difficult. That's this whole sport it's not just. And I read the comments. It's not just rich people doing rich people things. It's not. It takes a lot of time to put together the correct fit, for a sponsor that has a need to go out and reach people and a driver that can produce for them. And, it just takes some time. So I think we found a really nice group. Avon, you keep calling him Abe. I think it's funny. Abe's cool, man. Abe Lincoln was a great dude. So, hey,
am I making that mistake? That's what I thought you told me on the starting line. Spell his name for me.
Aven. But you can just call him sir like I do.
Listen.
Boss is the boss and always is, He's
I thought it was Abe. I thought you told me Abe on the starting line.
Well, Avon, it sounds like it was pretty loud on the start line. Okay. And he had never stood on the start line before when we were there. And it was kind of funny to watch. He was giggling, just he couldn't understand it. And I think when I'm out selling a sponsor, and I have, had very good sponsors in my life, with the Army being such a good sponsor, Excite Batteries before that, driving for the Peak Brothers with Layback, but then having to build my own, since without my dad and go out there and find these things, finding Skag and bringing them out to the races, never been to a race before. Going out there, and for the fans out there that think we lost Skag, we didn't. He wanted to own his own team, and it wasn't my gig. So, peace be with you and have a great time. I had to find a new deal, but I wasn't in a hurry. Everyone's like, you got to do it quick. You don't have to do it quick. You have to do it correct. You have to find the right company with the right budget, because I am not going out there, again, to be a filler. I'm going out there where we can hire a guy like Rob Flynn. We can hire a Fashing. We can hire these crew chiefs, assistant crew chiefs, car chiefs, clutch guys, and all the way down to some of the newer guys that are working on the car. These guys are hand-picked, and you got to have a budget to do that. These cars are expensive to run. I'm not a hobbyist doing this. I've made my livelihood out of this, both driving the cars and the public speaking that goes along with it. So, great guy. Cannot wait to work with Rob Flynn. Yeah, he's going to have a good time. We're going to both enjoy this.
Well, he's one of my favorite people out there. I get along great with everybody. I see the best. I can't wait to see Avon again, so I can apologize. But Rob Flynn is a good guy, and he's got the talent. Him and Jim Overhofer back together again, rekindling that chemistry they had. But let's look at the car, Tony. Let's look at the car. I don't know how out there this is, but let's talk about it, because when you sent me this image, the American Communications Construction Top Fuel Dragster, Rick Ware Racing, it's covering our faces as we speak, but boy, this thing is a beautiful car. It looks fast. It's patriotic. That ties into a theme that you have had your entire career, and just a very good looking race car.
100%. And, I had different designs done. I thought it was going in a different direction, and Rick had this one done and sent it to me, and I went, yes. And it looks like Clay's. Clay's is a familiar car. And Rick, for the first time, is saying, let's make them look like team cars. And they do. Back when I drove the Army car, and Antron had a Madco car, and, we had a Mopar car, and we had, it was all over the place. And, nothing looked the same. And even though it may not be important that they all look the same, because each sponsor wants their look, that is a great team unity right there. You got two cars between mine and Clay's that are going to look somewhat opposite, but the same. He's white in the front, I'm black in the front. We got a couple reversed areas, but it looks exactly how a team car should look. So when it came out and I saw it, Rick called and said, I have a plan. And it was the first time I heard, someone say that in a long time, where I have a plan and this is what it's going to be. And I went, I like it. My wife looked at it. She said, it's a good looking car, clean, excellent looking, has the American flag, has everything, the eagle, everything that Avon wanted for his company. They're a Tomball, Texas company. I will guarantee you the amount of American flags you will see in Texas will surpass any other country, well, I call it a country because it's my country. It's Texas. But any other state in the union, right? You're going to see American flags all over the place. This is an incredibly patriotic place. And I always say, I got an American sponsor right now from Texas, higher end Texas people doing Texas size work. And I can't be happier, man. I'm proud, kind of like a Torrance, man. That dude, he does great things for Texas. And I've only lived here 10 years. And from the moment I got here, I knew this was my home. So I'm happy. I'm proud to represent a Texas company. Aloha, his wife's company's on the card too. It's another good Texas company out in Tomball. So just happy as could be.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. What do they do? Just so we understand, American Communications Construction. So is it like cell towers? What is it?
Yeah, I mean they do the under the ground, the fiber optics for AT&T and Comcast, and they make things go fast. And guess what? So do we. It's serendipitous, man. It's meant to be.
Well, I like that too. And in terms of sponsorship that we need, like data and all that, that's what everything is. Everybody's talking AI now, data. I like the idea that we're in on it, even if it's the infrastructure side of it, right? Like it has to get into the ground. Otherwise you can't use your data. So
here's something, and there's so many great new drivers trying to come up and they're all doing the same thing. What you do and what I did, as an alcohol racer, is I looked at every sponsor on the side of every other car and I called them and said, hey, do you want to sponsor me? And I look back and I thought that was really embarrassing. You got to look outside the box. This has never been done before. You got to go outside, pull someone didn't ever come or think that this would be a tie-in and bring them to the race. The fact that we're all trying to take the sponsor on the side of the car. I can tell you this, and I've talked to Aben about it. I go, you're going to get 10,000 calls. Every team out there, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, they're all going to call you now. Hey, we could do it better. We're blah, 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 because it happened last time and just is the way it is. And you got to deal with it. It's uncomfortable, but it's part of the thing. But I'm telling you, for a young kid, stop taking the ones off the cars. All that does is bring the value down. Start looking at companies that are outside that can benefit from it and reach out. And you know how you do that? You don't just send letters. You get yourself out there. Get yourself around people that have companies. Talk to them about what you do and network and be smart about it. And when they have an interest, make a plan on how you can help them and bring it out to them, because this sponsor stealing, swapping junk is just so nonsense. It's for the birds.
I'd love hearing you say that. There's 50 sponsors at the track and there's 50 million that aren't at the track. And you've got a background, like you have a track record bringing people into the sport. And he seems excited. I love the idea that you're exposing the world of drag racing to new folks. And he's going to be out there. Now, you made some test hits. I heard it went well, but I haven't talked to you. Characterize it. The testing, where are you in that? The car, is it doing what you want it to do? All of those things.
It was hot. I was happy it started. It was, Richmond was, I don't even remember what the track was, 147, 150. I'd never, it was peeling the soles off our shoes, man. It was ruthless. But the car was leaving nice, staging nice. Everything about it was going smooth. We'll work through the bugs. We'll work through the things, but we have a car that I've driven. Everything there worked well. We'll start building a new car. We need to have a backup car because, believe it or not, I consider myself a fairly small dude. Clay is smaller, and I went to get in his car, so my shoulders were wrapped around if I ever had to run a backup car. So we need to get our stuff built. These things take time, but I believe the car will come out in Indy and haul butt. Rob and Troy, they've been at the races with them for the last couple of weeks. I don't know if they'll go to Brainerd. Honestly, it's probably a question they need to ask. We're down to 2 weeks now, and we have 2 semis getting wrapped today. The car will be wrapped today, tomorrow. This week it'll be wrapped. It's the parts and pieces that need to get in the lounge of the truck and lounge of the trailer, and it takes just an incredible amount of finance and parts and pieces that can be delivered on time. Now, we're lucky with Clay. It's all there. If we need to borrow, we'll borrow and we'll replenish because thanks to Avon and those companies, we have the budget to do it now. But, it's what's necessary to go out and race here. And I'm proud that it's all falling into, I shouldn't say falling, it's getting jammed into place quickly because we test in 2 weeks, man. I think next Saturday, what day is today? Tuesday. Next Saturday, my bus gets picked up from Texas and driven to Indianapolis to be parked. So when we fly in on Tuesday, we can test on Wednesday. Because I think there's only 1 day of testing, which scares me to death. But it is what it is. NHRA makes the rules. We follow them.
Right. Clay says it was 104 to Clay. First of all, Clay is like active participant in the chat. Thank you very much, Clay. And thank you for your repost on X where you have like 250,000 followers. Thank you, Clay. He said it was 147 degrees. And he also says that the shop is absolutely wide open craziness. You can use WFO if you want, Clay. But that is, meanwhile, this guy's doing burnouts on city streets in Akron, Ohio.
That's what I told him. He needed to be back loading the trailer up. What the heck's he doing out there playing games?
He's out there. Good. I'm glad they gave you a second shot at it, Clay, because that second one was wild. So, Tony, the other day, I saw. We all want this sport to succeed, right? Like you've had great success, but that's in the past. You want it to continue to be viable and succeed. And I'm hearing all these stories, and we all, IndyCar purchased by Fox, a little portion of it, all of that stuff. And a friend of mine sent me a clip of Ric Flair. I don't know how much you follow wrestling, but Ric Flair, one of the greats of all time, a true, genuine legend. We just lost Hulk Hogan, and he's sitting with an interviewer for about 10 minutes, just talking about his competition, about his career, about his success, about what he did, what he wants to do. And I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, man, like this is gold. Who among our people can carry it like that? And I even surveyed my friends, and someone was like, man, Schumacher is the guy who can talk directly to a topic and be slightly abrasive, that bad guy thing you referenced, like willing to be the bad guy a little bit without shying away. Exactly what the television story needs. You've been a fan out there watching the sport now for longer than you want. What are your observations of the show that is coming out of NHRA?
Well, people are initially going to say, well, we don't have a full field. But I think that what IHRA just popped up. So I'm watching it as an outsider right now, and people are like, we got to get more than 10 cars. Well, hang on for a second. IHRA is going to blow some competition, and you're going to draw some of the cars that'll find it a little bit easier to qualify at an IHRA race, and we totally understand that. And they're going to throw some money at it. But the long term, overall, they're going to come back to NHRA because it's still the best show in town. It's still where you're getting the TV coverage. You're going to race the best. It's a little bit like the European league out there. You can win it, and I appreciate it, man. I love it. But you're not racing the Clay Millikins, and you're not racing Coletta. And when you want to show your trophy on the shelf, you got to beat those guys for it to be that worthy trophy. So I understand what the sport's trying to grow, and it's great to have competition. So from an outsider, I think overall we'll end up with a good crowd, at least starting at Indy and getting on through the countdown. The coverage to me has been really good. I mean, I've been enjoying it. The way they're filming it from the sides, the way they're showing the staging. We got this kid, Justin Ashley, who leaves before we stage and gets a green light, like a miraculous lead every time. This kid's going to push us to be better leavers, and the competition's going to get stronger and greater. So all in all, I think it's fantastic. I think drag racing has always had complications. We have so many classes and so much stuff running. It gets a little complicated, but that's been from day one. NASCAR, hey, go in circles, and in the end, tell me who is the winner. That's it. You got one winner, and the whole thing makes sense. Drag racing, then Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock Bike. Then you got Pro Mod, you got Competition Eliminator and down. You got to explain everyone, but you don't have time. So that's a difficult challenge we'll always go through. But the fans that show up, the ones that know our sport, know it's the greatest sport, period, on earth. And when they hear a Top Fuel car like Avon did a few weeks ago, for the first time on the start line, you realize there is nothing like this. It's our job. It's your job. It's NHRA's job, and it's Fox's job to make people hear and feel that so they come out there. It's our job to get kids off their phones, because if you can watch it for free 10 minutes after it's happened or even live, it's hard to get people out there. And it is our entertainment. It's what we do. But we got to sell some hot dogs. We got to sell some beer. We got to sell everything that goes along with those races. And none of us want to race in front of, well, I'm not going to say, I would say none of us want to race in front of a nobody crowd. But you know what? We did it during COVID. And I still love driving those cars. It wouldn't matter if there was 2 people up in the stands doing the wave, and one guy hated me and one guy loved me. Me and Clay would still run, right, Clay? I know you're there.
Yeah. Well, I love hearing you say that. I agree wholeheartedly. It's a different perspective when you're watching through that screen. And I wanted to hear what you had to say. Now, let's bring it to the fun. I got a text from you last week. I got a text from Tony, which I loved that. Like, this guy is watching. And what I said was that pro stock racers truly affect the outcome of the race because they can mess it up with shifting and whatnot. You're like, hey, we do that too. And I was like, acknowledged. Good point. You can drive out of the groove. You can have a bad reaction time. You can mess up in 100 different ways. I was just trying to give a little love to pro stock, which so many fans, you know, they're not 340 mile per hour cars. They're something different.
You know, all the classes are wonderful. And it's funny because it's not just what you say. You know, Courtney also tries to draw everyone back, and I get it. Everyone should stay up there and watch pro stock. But you got to have a time to go out and do some other things, and I understand they tend to choose that. I can't explain it, and it's not my job to beat down anything in the world. I think those are some of the most talented drivers in the world. I think they do a hell of a job. The cars used to be those factory hot rods. I don't know that they are anymore. They're all replicas, and our cars to a point are getting there. And when you were asking, how do you fix some stuff? I don't know, but opening some of those doors to make things a little different might be a way to do it. You get see, you know, you see the same thing over and over again, doing the same thing, running the same numbers. That gets a little, you know, a little hard to spend money on. So pro stock is really, really tight and really close. Are they great drivers? Phenomenal. Does it scare them when they get in the car? I doubt it. You know, it's just the way it is. You know, math is hard, but no one shows up to watch a math test, and it's really difficult. But Top Fuel, when they start, people come to the pits to watch it warm up. It burns your eyes, you can't breathe, you can't see, and when it shuts off, you walk to the next one to feel the same burn. There's a reason for that. It's abusive, it's over the top, it's outstanding, and there's a level of fear that you can't have in any other thing.
Touche on the math thing. I would not go see it. I don't know if you just came up with that one off the top of your head or what.
I made that up a few years ago when Warren Johnson was saying, I put my kid in one of your cars, and I said, no one shows up for a math test, buddy, but it is interesting and it's very difficult. Trust me, it's over my head. That doesn't mean people come to watch it.
Yeah. Well, and exactly the point.
And I'm going to take some shit for, I want to take some stuff for that one.
That's okay. No, well, and that's, you said you're willing to be the bad guy, and more people need to be willing to be the bad guy. And, you know, Clay is out there weighing in. Zach has got like a legit question. Zach is having fun. He wants to know if you could swap seats with any driver from any other motorsport, not drag racing. So like other stuff, who would it be?
Michael Schumacher a long time ago.
I like it.
I mean, when I grew up, and you know, I'm 55 years old. When I grew up, I was 10, watching a movie called The Quick and the Dead. It was hosted by Jackie Stewart, Stacy Keach. Look it up. It's called Champions something or other. Anyway, it was about the late 60s, early 70s F1 drivers, back when they were very unsafe. 2-3 guys would die per race. Jackie Stewart formed a union. But that's what made me want to drive race cars. I didn't know it would be Top Fuel NASCAR. I had no idea what I wanted to drive. I just knew at 10 years old, I was standing there in complete awe of the awesomeness of what these guys did. So I have a fairly short attention span. I don't know that I'd get around to track one time in an F1 car, but I think those guys and the training and just the mental awesomeness they have could get in a fuel car and do a swap. I think a lot of people say they want to until they start. You know, I think a lot of people go, I could drive a Top Fuel car. You put them in it, you warm it up, and they go, nope. You know, and I think that's what makes the sport so cool. So I would do the same. F1 car is the only car in the world that I would get in and go, oh, I don't know about this thing, because it's so high tech. It's so fast. The memorization of the track, the amount of time that goes into it is simply amazing. Just mind-boggling to me that those guys are true heroes.
Did you see the movie?
I have not. I will see it soon. My son saw it. I'll go see it. You know what I said? I go, man, I saw the original, The Quick and the Dead, and it was brutal. It was crash after. It was just the realness of the sport and how the guys would be on fire upside down for 3 minutes before, and they were burnt. Like the people couldn't get there in time, and Jackie Stewart Stacy Keach comes walking out, after this crash at the very beginning. And he walks up to the car, and there's a F1 car sitting there, and he goes, these cars, and they are cars, can maybe be driven by 40 men in the world. Maybe, not that many. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. I'm going to be one. It's one of those things we can be influenced when we're young in so many ways. But the way he spoke, and then, these F1 drivers with their shirts unzipped and hairy chests in Europe, and they're like, and do the car goes into the chicane. And they're talking, and I'm just like, like it was magic. It was, our sports, we talk very American. Some Texas, some Tennessee. You can understand Clay most of the time, and me sometimes. We have our accents, but those F1 guys, man, they all sound cool, and they all got really expensive watches, and they get paid. So, hey, for the fans out there, I just want to say this, that think, we do this for money. I will guarantee you we don't. You want to make money, you drive an Indy car, you drive a NASCAR. Well, I won't say Indy car. You probably buy a ride in Indy car. I think you buy most of those cars. There's 4 or 5 people get paid. Drag racing, there's about that too. NASCAR drivers get paid. F1 drivers get paid money. So if we had a goal, and our goal was to get rich, so when you're beating us down and stuff, because you do that to everybody, think about that. We're putting our lives on the line because we love doing it. We're not getting paid that much. None of us do this for the money. There's just not enough budget in it for that. And we do it because it's truly, in our minds, the greatest sport in the world, period. And we think we're giving to the fans because we stand at the ropes all day signing autographs. We love what we do. Find that in another sport. Find that anywhere out there in any other sport, maybe sprint car. But you don't find that everywhere. You won't find that in a football game. You ain't going to find that in no basketball game. You ain't going to find that in no hockey game. Hockey be close. Those people want to talk about hockey. I've met everybody from every world. We just want to talk about it. And, we work for 6 minutes a year, so we got a lot of time.
Yes. No, we need people to cheerlead the sport, to look at it big picture, to talk about why it's amazing and what's different about it. I love hearing you talk about Formula One. Clay doesn't like Formula One, but that's okay. He's not, everybody doesn't have to all like the same stuff, but I appreciate you acknowledging that. We've got a guy who came from IndyCar and stock car and sprint car who said, I want to try to do that. And he's doing it. How do you think Tony Stewart is doing? He's sitting second in the points. So the point standings say he's doing well. He's won a couple of races, but what are your observations about Smoke?
I think he's doing a fantastic job. But, and I don't mean the but in a negative way, he took the right steps. He did not go, I'm a NASCAR driver, get out of the way, I'm going to drive a top fuel car. He went through everything and took years. And, I called him one day and I said, I got invited to the Chili Bowl at a sponsor that said you want to drive in the Chili Bowl. I called him up and he said, I will not let you drive in the Chili Bowl. He goes, you will get run over. You've never been on dirt before. I'm like, well, how hard could it be? That's what you hear about drag racing. Well, how hard could it be? I mean, just go in a circle. Those things take off with 800 horsepower. They stand up, and by the time you get to turn one, a guy like Lasowski would have gone around you and kicked you with rocks and black and blued you from head to toe. And I'm like, I'm out. I don't have no ego like that. Those guys are better than me at that. Give me time to train. I'll go slow. I'll work my way up like Smoke did. Take 3-4 years. He took a long time to get. And not only is he a champ in most sports that he's done, almost all of them, but he's willing to listen so he can become a champ. And that's what makes him great.
Amazing. Nicole mentions caps in the sprint car race at IRP. Perfect example. Clay mentions that there's no passing in Formula One. He wants more passing. I understand that.
But look back in the 60s and 70s, it was different. There were a lot of cars. There was great passing. What the movie now and the racing now, you're right. There's not. And these wings that open up, everything's different. The technology is so insane. But go back 30 years. Go back 40 years, and man, go back to the 60s and 70s in F1. That was a great, great amount. I was talking about Michael Schumacher back in that day. It was still nearing the end of what we used to have and becoming what we have now. But Michael was in that area. Plus, he's got a kick-ass last name.
Yeah, of course he does have a really good last name. You don't have to change the decals on the car. Everyone's just picking up on that one right now. And nobody's passing Michael Schumacher because he was out in front and he won everything. 340. What do you make of all this? I'm sure you're excited to go take some shots in the right conditions. Rob Flynn's a guy with the 300 to the 8th. He was the first to do it. But as you see these performance milestones, and Brittany and now Doug and some, like it's bringing us back to that era where guys are trying to become one of the few who has done something that no one else has done. What have you make of it? And I know you want to be the next one if possible.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. But, like they've both said, it doesn't win you championships. Brittany went out first round after doing that. And I love you, Brittany. And I love Grubby and I love John Force. But they know it as well. And they're the ones that pointed out the most. It's not getting them the wins. I think it puts them on such a brutal edge that, track's not the same on race day at 10 or 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning, whatever time we run on that particular race. But it does show you have incredible power and you can get a car moving quick. What we want to see are those ETs. That's what we got. You know what? A good low ET makes it awful hard to build a lot of speed. That's just the way it is, right? Very seldomly do you have an ET record set at the same time as a mile per hour record. Brittany had it close. I think she was in the 64s, something like that. But it's all wonderful to watch. It's why the fans show up. The big numbers are dictated by the last 60 plus feet of the racetrack, and only that. The ET is from the get-go to the end, and it's the first one there. In the race day, you have to be able to hit the gas on time or hit that loud pedal. You got to be able to move. You don't always have to leave on a guy like Justin. You have to leave close to him and outrun him. And that's between you and the crew chief. He is a top driver I've ever seen in Top Fuel leaving the starting line. The problem with that is there's more than that on the racetrack. It's 1,000 foot. And if you can get your crew chief and yourself to both pull their weight on a race, you can take that boy out. And we have to, or he's going to be the champ.
Yeah, that's interesting. And his crew chief, a little something about that. Okay, so now we got a Daniel Wilkerson chiming in. Like Tony Schumacher on WFO brings the drivers out, right? I don't even know what his comment is. I put it up there. Pro stock cars are cool too. That's the beauty of our sport. There's something for everyone. One of my favorite parts is being in the skag box and watching the other categories, says Daniel Wilkerson. I think we all agree on that. BEH Performance asks you if you'd ever get back on a pro stock motorcycle. Did I miss that? Were you ever on a pro stock motorcycle?
No, but I'd like to make a run on a nitro bike, to be honest. Pro stock bikes would be wonderful. I have 5 motorcycles in my garage and 1 car. So I love bikes. It'd be fun to take a ride on one of them things. I think they're wicked bad. Now, should I in the middle of a race season? Nah, probably not. My son just pulled in. He just took his helmet off. He wanted to ride this morning. And I said, Indy is 3 weeks away. I will not get on a motorcycle with you. And, so there's a love of, you got to live. And to be honest, Michelle Pfeiffer is the reason I drive Top Fuel. Okay. She, in the movie Grease 2, loved motorcycles. If you've never seen it, you got to watch it once. Who's that guy? And I bought a motorcycle at 13, learned to do wheelies and ride bikes because I was going to get Michelle Pfeiffer. And I want you to know to this day, she's never called me. So if you're watching the show, now I'm married. It's cool, but a phone call would be good. But she made me want to do it. And when you get on a bike, one thing a boy won't tell you, at 13, you smell gasoline coming out of an exhaust for the first time. You want it to be louder and you want it to go faster and then louder and faster. And it doesn't, it just grabs you. It either consumes you or you're not destined to be a race car driver. And there's cool. Everyone doesn't have to do that. There's a lot of sports out there. A lot of people that don't want nothing to do with it. They just want to watch. And that's great. A lot of sports, a lot of things I don't want to do. But I knew at a young age that I was going to learn to do this. Whatever it was going to make noise and it was going to go fast. And I was going to be in it or on it. So, pro stock motorcycle, pro stock car. I don't know that I do a land speed car just because it's not the speed that interests me. It's just, 300 miles an hour, 320, 330, 250. They're all fun. It's the acceleration. And, we lost what happened this weekend.
Chris Rashke, ARP,
that's awful. And it's been done in the past. We've lost other people, and we lose them in drag racing. We lose them in F1. We lose them in NASCAR. It's not my thing. I like the sheer awesomeness of the launch. And bikes, pro stock motorcycle, definitely have it. Now, a fuel bike, if I could reach the pedals in the back, I got a picture of me trying to reach back. I don't have the hips for that. I can't get my feet back there. But I'm guessing when I hit the gas, they'd probably be thrown off the back of the bike anyways. They just look like they run good. And you ever meet a fuel bike racer? That's someone you want to have a beer with.
Yeah.
You know, like they're big, burly. They're not, this is pro stock size, pro stock motorcycle size. Them boys are big old Harley dudes.
Bob Malloy, he's your size. You know, I can't confirm that Spider-Man McBride is out there watching because he doesn't watch every single show, but many
He's a little
does.
bigger than me. I saw him. I watched him race at one of the races recently. He walked up. He was still 6 inches taller than me. I am not a big guy, you know. I'm meant to be a field goal kicker, you know. If I play football, I'm not going to tackle nobody, you know. It's just not. We're meant to fit in a race car.
All right,
and don't laugh, Clay. You'd be holding the ball, okay? You'd be holding the ball while I kicked it. So I don't want to hear nothing.
You guys are both point guards. Nicole says, new respect for you, Tony. Love for Grease 2. And the guys at Life's a Drag also love the Grease 2 reference. And nobody really references Grease 2. But the Michelle Pfeiffer part of it, I feel that. I respect it.
Dude, she had me at hello, man. I mean, when she walked out and she just did a little pink ladies thing, and that dude went out and got a bike. You know, and the best part, it's like Batman. She couldn't recognize him because he had goggles on. I always found that funny. So not only she's smoking hot, but she's not that smart. And you know, what a great movie.
A great movie.
I know I'm going to get in trouble for all this crap. It's just a joke. It was a movie.
We are having a good time here, folks. Craig Gaultier wants to offer you his Super Stalker. He's got a very fast Stanfield-powered Super Stalker. This guy and others mentioned the jet cars. That's kind of a crazy thing. Exhibition, fast, not wheel-driven. You've done it. People want to know if you'll do it again. I don't want you to do it again, but what say you?
They're actually super fun.
Really? Like,
yeah, you turn the afterburner on, you light it, it lights. And the only somewhat dangerous part of those things, because they're really mostly safe cars, the dangerous part is there is no rear wing. So the way they do it is that the jet is angled at half a degree down in the front. So it buries that car, man. It's like you have a wing until you pull the parachutes. When you pull the parachutes, it has to turn the jet off, which is giving you the downforce. So at the exact same moment, it's losing downforce, chutes are coming out. Now, if you blow one off, and we saw Roger Gustin 8 times at the finish line crash. And it was always chutes come out, one blows off, car flies. So they have a little bit of a dangerous there. I wish they could come up with a way to have some kind of wing on that car. Tammy Gatling, she crashed the one I drove for the Odyssey, which was Wayne Canute's car. It was so much fun being early 20s, traveling around the U.S., driving a jet car on all different tracks. I loved it. You know, and again, I was going fast at an early age, and then I went into Alcohol Funny Car and drove those, and it was, you know, a wee bit slower but harder to drive. Anytime you have a wheel-driven car, you're not aiming it so much. You're staring at the rear end's moving the car around, the motor's making power, dropping cylinders, pushing you around. It's more difficult car, but loved it. Loved every step I took. I ran 86 Trans Am, 69 Chevelle with 454, ran 1090s. I went road course racing with Skip Barber, who got inducted into the Hall of Fame with me this year. Skip Barber himself in March in the Motorsports Hall of Fame. Super cool. And to be able to walk up to him and say, before I ever did any of this stuff, I drove your formula cars around the track for a full year. It was really cool. And I think I learned more. And for you guys out there that are racing, drag racing, you run an open wheel Indy car without wings, the control of the downforce is your right foot, the slippage, all that stuff. So to learn how to squeeze back into a throttle that you're going to do now, it's important. If you ever can take a class for 3 days in the open wheel formula cars, Formula 4s, Formula Vs, any of those things, best thing you could ever do. Will help you as much as most of our drag races. Well, I've been through, I've loved hanging out with Roy Hill, but I've been through Frank Hawley's school. I ran through Frank Hawley's funny car school. Great lessons. Everything I learned from each one of these people were fantastic, but that road course class helped me with weight control, feeling when a car is loose, stopping, settling it down, and moving it. It's been, for me, one of the biggest things I've ever done.
Wild. Tony, this has been amazing. I'm super excited for your return at the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals. Of course, we got the Lucas Oil Nationals in Brainerd in a couple of weeks. Before I let you go, and I want to thank the audience, whether it be Daniel Wilkerson or Clay Milliken or everybody out there who's watching, I, of course, encourage you to share, repost, comment on the YouTube video, just to trick the algorithms, right? To get it out there to as many of these people as is possible. This has been such a great conversation. I do want to bring up one final minor controversy. This past race weekend in Sonoma, there was an event called the Throttle and Bottles wine blending deal. Antron Brown, the guy that had Three Fat Guys Brewery, put together by Allison McCormick. It was amazing. And Antron Brown was victorious. I don't know if you were aware of this. Were you aware of this?
I was.
Okay.
Because we weren't there.
Well, and that's the controversy in the winner's circle interview. And I was there, and I was happy to ask Antron a couple of questions. He did say that your wife, Summer, was more responsible for your victories than you were. Perhaps that's true. Would you like to address this controversy?
Yeah, that's all hearsay. I mean, it's possible. I do listen to my wife. Anyone that doesn't, you know how that works out. So she's better at wine than me. And no one said I couldn't use it. It's like, kids nowadays, when we were in school, if you wanted to cheat, you had to write stuff real small. Now they get the books. You get to take the books to the test, and you get your computer. You get to use all the assets. Now, they didn't say you cannot use your wife. Not even a hint of that. Matter of fact, they said, ask her, So I don't know what the controversy is. I used every bit of advice and technology. Oh, that didn't work.
Speaking of which, we made it this far.
I used everything I could, all knowledge. That's the way it goes. And when I get in a race car, I'm going to use it all too. I like winning. Winning's my thing. We were talking about this. I got 88 wins, and Clay's got 8. So together we got 888. I'm kidding. For all the people that are going to blast me on my math. You know how much I like the math test. Okay, never mind.
Tell them to go watch a math test for entertainment, and they will get it. Tony, this has been great. Thank you very much. You made me feel a lot better because, again, this was inspired by my friend sending me the Ric Flair interview, and just like free-wielding conversation, willingness to have someone mad at him for a minute, and then realize, oh man, this guy doesn't mean anything. Like that's what's going to grow our sport. I'm super excited that you're back. Avon, thank you very much. Hopefully you'll be watching this. We're super excited about telling the story. Rick Ware, there's Ric Flair and there's Rick Ware. This guy is an amazing character as well, unto himself. We haven't even really touched on Rick Ware. We will in the future, but thank you for making the time for this. I appreciate it. The posts about the practice tree though, like, man, you're leaning into this heavy. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, and some of the working out, I'm going to do a show one of these times when we're there. We go to this thing called Mandu, and you're hooked in a full electronic bodysuit. It's been doing me good on the tree. It's hooked around my hips, around my waist, around my glutes, and it's fully electric, and it stems kind of like when you're hurt and you go in for a stim. So I've been pounding myself. But it's getting my glutes in a firing position I never had before. So very unique. I think we'll do a show. Maybe we'll bring Amanda out and have her and Summer do a workout and show how hard it is. 15-minute workout. It's like an 8-hour workout in one. When you're done, you are sweating and sore and hurt for the day. So
I'm glad you qualified that it would be Summer and Amanda with this electric shock therapy workout. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Good job.
It'd be cool to watch.
Good job. Tony, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see you on track, most importantly. Thank you so much.
See you soon.
There he goes. Tony Schumacher with us here on WFO Radio. Are you not entertained? This is what WFO Radio is all about. Click the bell, subscribe, enable notifications, please. I ask you humbly. I would love for this show to be seen by as many people as is possible. WFO Radio in general, of course. As we get ready for the Lucas Oil Nationals this weekend coming up, I'll be in Brainerd calling divisional action. And then we're going into the big go, Indy, the biggest drag race on the planet, the most significant drag race on the planet, where Tony is going to be racing. And so that leads us into the NHRA playoff, known as the Countdown. You might have missed some WFO Radio episodes prior. They're all waiting for you in the archive. But Maybe you don't want to go back. That's fine. Don't miss one from here on out. And most importantly, we ask you to share and repost. It's just that simple, because this was an amazing interview. The guy was just freewheeling and always has been, honestly. I worked at XM Satellite Radio on NASCAR Radio, and then we transitioned to when the two companies split and merged, et cetera, and so on. There was a significant period where we were unsure of how many listeners we had when we first started WFO Radio. And I always remember this. And people who, like Greg Stanfield, was the first to put a WFO sticker on his car. And I say it 1,000 times and probably gets annoying to those people. Tony Schumacher came on our show with no guarantee that we had thousands of listeners, but he had been on when we were on XM, and he helped me bridge the transition to podcast and now live stream. He's still coming on, and I am always appreciative and thankful for that. All right, guys, let's put your comments in the comment section. What do you think about what we just witnessed? I'm going to come back with a little news. We're going to talk a little bit about the guys from Life's a Drag. We're going to talk about the things that are happening in the world of NHRA, all coming up right after this.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
Yeah, you got to hit them with the sponsors. Every once in a while, you got to hit them with the sponsors, like HusseyPerformance.net. My great friend Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com, been with us for over 10 years. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, got to mention. Guys, like, this show can't happen without the people that support us behind the scenes. And so you might not need any of them right now. Maybe you don't. But at some point, you will. And just consider the people that partner with WFO Radio. Bernie Speed Shop, Josh Hart was out there Night Under Fire doing a great job. So many people. I will tell you about everybody as we move forward. We've got some cool, I don't even know how to describe it. The folks at SoCalHotSauce.com have got a promo code for us. You save 10%. You try something new. SoCalHotSauce.com/WFO Radio. But let's talk about the other news in the world of NHRA drag racing. Breaking earlier today, the return of Jasmine Salinas. We had Jasmine on the next round in Sonoma. She said that there would be some news coming out that she is going to run the U.S. Nationals and try to run the remainder of the season with Joe Barlam as her crew chief, along with Adam Cave. And that is very exciting. This is the car, just to tie it together to Tony Schumacher, Rob Flynn wanted to keep going. And so when they parked the scrappers machine, there was no certainty, but now they've got it going again. And that is exciting. So we're gaining 2 cars at the U.S. Nationals, and Jasmine on a different side of the sport from Tony Schumacher, but another dynamic personality. And so I'm very excited. She's a driven young lady, and she's going to be back out there as well. I'm very excited about that. And all that goes on. If you're anywhere near Brainerd, Minnesota this weekend, I would suggest you come on out and watch some Lucas Oil Series action. They've got all kinds of good stuff. They got their Wednesday night streetcar program, all kinds of good stuff. But let's see what everyone else has to say about what Tony had to say. First of all, Clay, thank you so much for chiming in. It's so WFO. This is what this show is about. Someone called it indie, as in not Indianapolis, but like underground. there are bigger shows, the MRNs, the PRNs, Fox Network, all of these people. We're a genuine mom and pop store here, and I'm mom and pop. But when Clay Milliken and Daniel Wilkerson and people like Spider-Man McBride, they're out there in the audience, they're chiming in, they're watching the show, they're sharing the show. It lets people who just happen by us realize that there's got to be something worthwhile in here, you'd think. Love Top Fuel Harleys. I know a few fuel bikes out there. They are the best. Those people who ride Top Fuel bikes are nuts for real. And I think about Spider-Man. He's my guy that has kind of taken me by and educated me. And they are truly amazing. This gentleman, important stuff here. Michelle Pfeiffer was also in the Car Club movie Hollywood Nights as Susie Q. And she was also in Scarface. And she was also in 100 different things. And Michelle Pfeiffer. Isn't she doing something right now? Also, I think she's in one of these. I like her too, Tony. I agree on that. We agree on that. Tony Stewart is doing a great job transitioning from NASCAR, sprints, and Indy cars to Top Fuel. I'd say so. Let's look at the point standings. This is kind of interesting to me. Sean Langdon leads Tony Stewart by 48 points, Justin Ashley by 111, Doug Coletta, the most recent race winner, confirmed guest on WFO next week, by the way, guys. I'll still be in Brainerd. We'll see how that goes. 121 back. I'm not going to count Doug out, but it would be a catastrophe for Sean Langdon if Doug Coletta ends up as the regular season champion. That's just the math of the deal. I'm feeling like this is a fun battle. If you go back and you go race by race, round by round, Sean Langdon, Tony Stewart, Justin Ashley have raced each other a lot. They have really been clashing with one another. Langdon leads, racing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, in my opinion, in a good way, the thing that happened in Richmond. And not that they needed extra motivation, but with 2 races remaining, one of which being 1.5 points, I don't think you can yet say which direction that is going. But to Tony Schumacher's point, 16 cars or 18 cars or 14 cars, when the cars you've got are Sean Langdon, Tony Stewart, Justin Ashley, Doug Coletta, Antron Brown, Brittany Force Clay, Steve Torrance, who by his own choice is not participating in all the races, Josh Hart, Sean Reed, obviously out there doing great, posting on social media. Thank you, Sean. Ida Zetterstrom, Jasmine, etc. The competition is great. So numbers versus competitive level. Different debate for a different day. Sully says, happy wife, happy life. Cliff, 888. Yeah, that was very funny. This guy's doing a comedy routine on WFO. I appreciated it. I appreciated his willingness to do that. I'm glad to see Tony getting back in a Top Fuel dragster. He puts asses in the seats for sure. I agree. I think that there are tickets that are sold based on Tony Schumacher's participation. How could he not? He won the U.S. Nationals 10 times. Somebody there fell in love with him the way he fell in love with Michelle Pfeiffer. They had to have. And is my guy racing? No, your guy's not racing. Oh, I remember being that kid when Snake took a break in the early 80s. Dad, Snake going to be there? No, he's not. Oh, well, we went. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the same. Pat said, great time. He enjoyed it. AJ, who's doing real well in our WFO Fantasy NASCAR League. Thank you, AJ. Great interview. They're not all that great, but they're all pretty good. And hit that like button, says this guy, Henry G. For Joe, people. Yeah, and that's where we are. I got guys in the chat section cheerleading. Thank you very much, Henry G. We also have our Patreon VIP listener club, which gets their own unique content. They get to participate in our Ignition audio-only podcast. You should go check that out. We witnessed history in the making. Bob Pratt, glad to see the shoe coming back to the sport. Me too. I think there was some news made in this interview. I don't know what it was. There was so much of it. Here's Summer. Look at that. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth. I blame the concussions. So you don't have to say that, Summer. But I appreciate it. That was years ago. Everything's fine. For those that don't know Summer, very interesting person. And, I don't know what the word is you would like to use. I mean, like a muse, if you will, inspiration for a lot of things. Positive thought for Chris Bostic. He has a tough road ahead. Does he? I know that Chris was hanging out in Sturgis. It was widely reported that he went to the hospital. He had some internal situation going on. I don't know anything beyond that. How tough his road is, I wouldn't characterize anything that way, Lonnie. But perhaps. And, this is a weekend. Tony and I both mentioned it. The Salt Flats, a passion. I have no knowledge. I have never been. But I know the racing community is hurting right now. And so, it's just one of those moments. And for Chris, who I hadn't met, I know so many people who are hurting today. And so my thoughts are going out. And anytime anyone in our racing community has an issue like that, and you think about what Chris Bostic dodged and how Tony said moments ago, it's not beanbag here. Like, this is a very serious thing. 2 champs for the people, the same team going to be epic. Rick Ware Racing for this. Yes, I think Rick Ware will probably lean into it. And I love the fact, you guys will not understand this, or maybe you will, but that Mike Arning and True Speed is PR for Rick Ware Racing, a world-known PR agency that Mike Arning is partnered with, founder, along with another guy you might know. That's really good. It's good for drag racing. David Ender says, informative and fun, a side of Tony I didn't know was there. Isn't that amazing? The guy's been racing. He's coming up on his 30th U.S. Nationals next year. And there's a side of him that we were able to let you see here on WFO Radio. That's, that should be worth a share. That Redline commercial could go on a loop, in my opinion. Thank you. The guys on Life's a Drag like it too. Life's a Drag, Elon Werner and Jason Logan. They are on the WFO Radio Network, and they do a show. Now, it has been a really good start for those guys. But as anyone who ever starts to commit to doing a broadcast, it can be rocky in the beginning. I challenge you to think of all the shows that have started and ended in the last 5 years. Lots. You got to commit to it. And so these fellas, Elon and Jason Logan, have dialed in their timing. And it's the exact timing that I initially proposed in the first minute of it. Noon on Wednesdays, Eastern time. And they tried a lot of different things, and they couldn't really get any of them to work because of commitments and schedules and work and other responsibilities. And so now the show will be 12 noon Eastern time. It's going to be live here on the WFO radio feeds, just like this one is live. Doesn't have to be live. You can go back and listen to the audio only podcast, all of these things. But check out Life's a Drag. A lot of great stories. And if you like John Force, this is the thing that I don't think people fully appreciate. Elon worked with John Force for 15 years. Every once in a while, out of nowhere, this is related to that, and that's related to a John Force story that is genuine gold that you will love. So check out the show. Blake says, I'd love to see Amanda and Summer do a workout. Blake, come on, man. Blake. I'm 60 miles from BIR, so we'll see you, Pat, right? We're going to see you out there for some super stock action, super gas, super comp, super street. We're going to see you out there this weekend, Pat. I'll be calling the action. I'll be with the local team out there. It's going to be great. Roscoe, the Yeti. You don't have to wear the Yeti costume. Got 50 pounds of chicken wings. You better come next Thursday and eat. Let me know where to be. Let me know where to be. I can only wonder if Reed is considering having somebody subbing for him. I thought about reaching out to Sean Reed. I like Sean greatly. I want to be as respectful as I can, but as soon as he's ready to come on the show, we're ready to have him. He is handling a difficult situation in the best possible way. The potential for humor that he's putting out there is great. Jones says, can't wait to see you at BIR. Can't wait to be there. Let's see. Is it going to be a blocker for Clay Milliken? I don't believe in blockers in drag racing. It's so you can bet that Tony Schumacher isn't putting this deal together with Avon to go out there and find himself qualified 9th and Clay qualified 8th, and they have to run each other and he'd taken a dive. Like, that is not happening on the planet that I live on. So no, they're going to race. People are going to race each other. The problem with drag racing is it's really hard to do that team stuff and not have it be very obvious. Also, you're in the Play NHRA era now, guys. Things are very different than they once were. You may think back in the past to examples that your mind conjures. Good for you. I respect it. Once upon a time, if I ever put myself in the seat of the team owner and one of my cars had the opportunity to end my championship hopes, I might consider not having that happen. I think you all would as well. Now in the Play NHRA era, where there are people around the world wagering money and sportsbooks are involved, things are a little different. And I think there is some potential negativity that could come from that. So I wouldn't do it. And I don't think you're going to see it happen. My opinion. Maybe I'm naive. The interview with Tony was making a historical event happen. And I think it's great, Joe. Thank you, Henry G. Thank you. Derek, who has been championing Life's a Drag live. It's just not the same if it's not live. That's why we moved to live. Well, we have the capability to go live. As soon as we had the capability, the minute that we did, we switched to live. And it's been better ever since. You know how many people we got on there? We got like 542 at this moment across all platforms. That's enough. When I did AM talk radio for a while, you only need a couple of calls on the line. Everybody else watches after the fact when they can. And for those of you that post the show on YouTube and comment, I appreciate it. I watch it, so so glad I get to see John and see you again, says Kara. Thank you. Elon said that he plans on doing a John Force story after every ad break. Good for our sponsors. Thank you very much to all of our wonderful sponsors out there. Keep those comments coming, guys. Let's see what you've got to say. You can watch the show on PowerTube TV now. I don't know if you know this. Try to download their app. It's another one of these fast channels streaming. And WFO Radio is on there in this exact form. So if you're watching on PowerTube TV right now, reach out to us on our social media feeds. I want to shout out to the folks at Wright Trailers, Michael Scott, so helpful in getting me back on the racetrack with Project Pontiac. The race car is going to come out at some point. And if you like WFO Radio, get yourself some gear. We have Life's a Drag gear. We've got the fire shirts. We got Project Pontiac, Miami Hollywood Speedway Classic stuff. All of it is available. And we just shout out to the people who make it possible for us to do this, like Bernie Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com, 100,000 square feet up there in Ocala, Florida. Just go to their website, see what they've got. What I think is best for us is their expertise in selling a car. Yes, purchasing a frame-off restoration, getting something extravagant and amazing done. They do that all, of course. But don't let your children sell your classic for way less than it's worth. Go to the folks at Bernie's, and they will find a buyer for your machine, certainly. And thanks to our friends at Redline Oil and FTI and Total Seal Piston Rings. New episode of Hidden Horsepower dropping later this week. Later this week. You're absolutely going to love it. David Ward, High Performance Lubricants, the guy who owned the sprint car that Ron Capps was in when Levi Jones drove over the top of him. The guy who owned the sprint car, midget car, that Sammy Swindell was in when he got taken out of that race. The guy who owned the car that Tony Stewart was in, who also happens to make high-performance lubricants in the world of drag racing, featured on Total Seal's Hidden Horsepower. Be sure to check it out. All right, let's go back to your comments. I'm loving the comments, guys. You're doing a great job today. Russell loves Tony Schumacher. What's up, Kyle Keck? How are you? Russell is Kyle. Kyle's dad. Nicole, going to be good fun at BIR, home track, and always a good time. I didn't know it was your home track, Nicole. That's good stuff. I get in trouble every single year by saying something like it's the last race, and I'm not going to use the term that doesn't matter. It matters, but it's not the U.S. Nationals matter level, and it's not the playoffs. So there's a bit of a party atmosphere, including the zoo. People are willing to let themselves have fun at the Lucas Oil Nationals. They let down their hair a little bit and have fun. And that atmosphere is unequaled anywhere else on the tour. So it doesn't have to be the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals and the intense, like, to quote Bobby Lagana in his ultimate wisdom, nutted up way. that happens at Indy and the playoffs. Thank you, Bobby, for that. I would never have known that term if not for you. Ant Dog, going to catch the replay, missed most of the show. Shame. Way to sell Life's a Dragon, true. So I'm working for these guys, man. I'm working for them. I think it's an interesting show. I find them interesting. Maybe I'm not the only one. Let's see. Pat says, Sean already said that he is looking at a possible fill-in for a few races on Speed Freaks interview. Very good. Thank you for that. No blockers would play NHRA. Monica says, good show today, Joe. Always love hearing from Tony Schumacher. Fines, penalty, perception isn't worth it. Perception isn't worth it. That's really the end of it. You think of Shoeless Joe Jackson, if you know anything about baseball. Like there was a point where the two lines crossed. And at some point it became not worth it to be the one whose name gets sullied in some sort of a controversy. Just take the L. Just take the L. Come back next year, try again. Joe, I saw an interview with Sean on another podcast. He's going to come back by the start of the countdown. Very exciting. Thank you, Lonnie. We also know how far behind I am with the comments. Eddie. It used to be from Garofolo's. I can't even remember the name now, Eddie. Like they broke the brand in my mind. I'm sorry. Afternoon, Joe, any plans to run Project Pontiac this year? Yes, there are plans to run Project Pontiac, my race car, this year. We got great partners like Summit Racing Equipment and Total Seal and Foggett. Gary Stinnett and Steve Williams from Foggett. Everybody should have a can of Foggett. They've been so helpful to Project Pontiac where I actually get to drive. You heard Tony Schumacher talking about 1090 car and going out racing. Like that's one of my favorite classes. Super street, because the cars are heavy and they're real and there's no carbon fiber and they are what they were on the street. And there's an index and it's 1090 and varying budgets can participate. I'm very excited about it. Rockingham in October after the Stampede of Speed is my only next opportunity to race the car. We are working very hard to try to get the car back together and ready to race for that opportunity. Will it happen? That's part of the fun in the story. You got to listen to Ignition. I got Sue Morris. She is Dave and Sue Morris from Fuel Factory, who are a tremendous help as well. They are such motivators, like extremely motivational people. Like you can do it. Oh, I don't know, the work schedule and all of these things. No, we'll help you. However you need to be helped, we will help you get to Rockingham. Whatever you need. Do you want us to fix something? Do you want us to work something? Do you want us to do? We'll do it. And that is amazing. And I don't need them to do it. I just need to carve out time to focus on my own car, which has been the problem the whole time. Ken, hey, Joe, do your shirts come in white? So the thing about the service we use, which is T Public, is they come in every color. They come in every color. Now, the ones that Randy Lynn has at the Horsepower headquarters, no, we do not have those in white. That is the official WFO Radio podcast shirt available only at the track at Hot Rod Randy Lynn's Horsepower headquarters, period. That shirt with my car on the back and the crazy looking me says wide F and open. That shirt is only available in black, but every other shirt, I'm going to drop the link right now, available in whatever color you want. Pink, they got hoodies, they got coffee mugs. The Life's a Drag stuff is up there. It's all available. And the thing that's amazing is that someone in your neighborhood is making it the way it's like the Uber of t-shirts. And if you're in Alaska, chances are someone in Alaska makes that shirt for you, and they're really good quality and everybody loves them so far. So thank you for that. Yeah, a little bit of a party in Brainerd. Nicole says, my family's top alcohol car won twice at the North Star Nationals. Remember that? And the zoo, not always as tame as it is now. I've heard the stories. And I hear it was wild. I only almost got beaten up one time in the zoo. One time I had some guys challenge me, and they tried to get a little crazy on me. And it was my fault. How dare I take a picture for someone and then be in the background? Thus, the coining of the phrase, don't be a zoosh. Some people just get crazy over there. I'm glad to see things have normalized. Seeing Tony interact with junior dragster kids at Pomona made me more of a fan. He's a real class act. True. I think Tony was the first driver I ever met in the zoo. I probably was starstruck. The new name is Movida. Can't wait to see all of my NHRA family. Yeah, Eddie, we're going to be going to Charlotte for the first ever 4-wide playoff race, guys. Don't forget that. Don't forget the first ever 4-wide playoff race. And that occurs to me that I should give some more point standings. Guys, Austin Prock, regular season champion. That's the sound of inevitability. 201 back is Matt Hagan. Jack Beckman, 205 back. Caps, 238 back. I don't think anyone's going to get upset that I'm crowning Austin Prock inevitable for the regular season championship. The rest, there's more to the story. The points reset. They're going to have to do it again. In Pro Stock, Dallas Glenn and Greg Anderson are battling each other for that regular season points championship. They're within 2 rounds, 37 points. It could go either way. But how about Erica Enders winning the night under fire? Dallas and Greg were there. Jeg and Erica ran in the final. What? How'd that happen? And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Gage Herrera is 70 over Richard Gadsden. Richard was on with Brian Loans in the NHRA Insider podcast. Matt Smith, 122 back. And he said it in a way I think is very understandable. Like if he's going to win it, that means something really went catastrophically wrong with Gage. And does he want to see that happen to his, teammate and partner? Probably not. But he feels like he's in the mix for the actual season championship. And so be sure to watch that. I think that the dynamic in Pro Stock Motorcycle has suddenly changed with the emergence of Richard Gadsden. Richard, you're probably wondering why he hasn't done his WFO winter view. When Loans gets him, we're starting to be a little smarter about this kind of stuff. Not going to oversaturate with Richard Gadsden on 2 shows in the same week as best as we can. Last week, we had Aaron and Greg Stanfield. Greg then went on to be on the NHRA Insider, but we're trying. We are trying. And so Richard is going to come on before the big go. And we're going to talk about some interesting things that I think you're going to love. Walt, my buddy. Walt, always a pleasure. WFO. I was on with Walt and Bobby Fazio. It's on YouTube, driver interviews with Bobby Fazio. You can go back and find that. And we solved every problem in the world. It's really great, especially those of sportsman racers like Lucas Oil Series drivers and how to get the announcer to say your name, all of those things. Cliff, love my WFO tee. It's super comfortable. Thank you, Cliff. Thanks for that. Shout out. And let's see, Blake, he's still talking about he wants to see, he would love Amanda to be on the show for an NHRA finals preview. I'm pretty confident that if I reached out to Amanda, she would come on the show. I'm pretty confident on that. And it has been a minute since Amanda has been on the show, or Brian, or any of those. Now that we're doing the big super team occasionally on Friday nights, I got to get Loans on here as well. It's been a while. He's got a show. I got a show. We'll have him on. Life's a Drag, 12 noon Eastern Time. WFO Radio. Watch these guys. If you're a Patreon, hear it from Heiner, the Pro Stock Show. There are shows in the archive, but it's time for a new one. And big thanks to HusseyPerformance.net, not just Copperhead gaskets anymore. Give David Allen and the team a call. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. You can drive a dragster. You drive a dragster. Get on there, call Frank Hawley. Bernie's Speed Shop. Thank you, Josh Hart, for your support of WFO Radio. That is a team that just standing around the corner waiting for him to turn it. He's had some good runs. He's had some bad luck. You know the way the cosmos works. It all comes together at the right time. Fog It. Available at Summit Racing Equipment. Get yourself a can. High-performance engine spray. Protects your hone, but works on anything. RoadAxeCoffeeandGrills.com, 817-924-6821. Randy Neal at CWT Industries. Shouting out our boy Randy Neal. And Jesse Converters. Matt Latino. They used one of my calls, myself and Galvin, for a Matt Latino Power Edge social media post. It was like a work of art. It made me sound so much better than I am. I would appreciate it. Thank you, Matt. Jesse Converters. Particulate filters. Over-the-road trucks. OE replacement. And, of course, Total Seal piston rings. We appreciate everybody. Guys, the archive is loaded. We're constantly talking to drag racers about various topics, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So check out the archive, the audio-only podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Thanks to Tony Schumacher. And check out Life's a Drag tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. WFO.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.